Captain Starlog Supplemental. It's clear that someone on Iota Leonis IV is hiding something, and I'm beginning to suspect that someone is the Queen herself. To what end, I can't say at this time. I think our next course of action is to learn a little more about their society here before I jump to conclusions. Welcome back, everybody, to Part 3, Act 3 of the Star Trek Adventures Captain's Log mission, The Curse of God. We are yet to really arrive at the conclusion as to why I titled it like this, but considering the fact that I've rolled as many successes as I have, things are going roughly as I anticipated, though I didn't know all the details of the story. We'll see how this one ends. I certainly don't see it ending in a similar way to Mission 4, Strike of a Match, with the death of our main character. However, one can never be too certain. So, when last we left off, we saw the camera panning down, zooming down this massive sinkhole on Iota Leonis IV, and we see essentially magma bubbling near the bottom. Whether or not they've broken through to some pocket of magma or something even deeper than that, it's intentionally left to the viewer's discretion as the camera has zoomed very quickly. We then will cut back to the top and see the captain kind of kneeling at the edge and peering, again, very carefully into the sinkhole itself. He'll stand up and say, "Alright, there's clearly something going on here that we're not privy to. I think what we need to do is go and speak to some people here other than the Queen. Ensign Monroe, do you know the coordinates of the nearest settlement?" Yes, Captain. I think there's a settlement about, 300 or 400 kilometers from here. Good. Let's head there and see what we can learn. See what we can learn about this god of theirs, too. What was it? Imopame? With that, they return to the shuttlecraft and will fly with all due haste to the site of the nearest settlement. Looks to be a city of no more than about 400 or 500 people. At the very center of the city, there's some kind of religious building. Doesn't really look like any modern, like, real-life human churches or religious structures. This one almost seems to be more of a place of learning, like a library of sorts. There's people being educated in reading signs, so they're kind of studying a bit of science and a bit of pseudoscience, and that seems to be how they're worshipping, so to speak. Now let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do our first task. I think it's going to be again we'll do presence as our main attribute for this, because Bronson is trying to use his innate charm to get the information he needs. And I think security makes the most sense, so we'll do presence security. 15. 13 and a 3. We would generate a momentum, but we're still sitting on one because we haven't really needed those as of yet this game. Okay, so that is our first success of this part of the task, or this part of the mission. So as Bronson's walking around, I think he finds someone sympathetic to talk to, and they chat for a brief while, and we learn that the Imopamians, hard word to pronounce, are deists. They believe that Imopame created all and has since fled, and is now, doing nothing more than watching her creations attempt to follow her signs. And that's basically the foundation of their religion. I think Bronson would also learn that Queen McAlister was the one who read the signs, and first off was appointed by a sign that someone read. Someone read a sign that claimed that she was to be their next monarch. And as their next monarch, she has a supposedly greater ability to view the signs than others do, by nature of some genetic abnormality that others do not have. And it was her who saw the signs that said they needed to leave Earth and come to this planet. All right. So I think that's what they've learned. Now, this is an interesting point. I think I know why, or exactly what's going on here. But the real question is, can Bronson figure it out? I think he probably can. So we're going to go ahead and do an insight. This is a cultural studies thing for sure. I don't know. Insight science, I guess, makes the most sense. So once again, a 13. And cultural studies will be an applicable focus. So let's go ahead and roll for it. That's a 1 and a 12. That'd be 3 successes. Again, don't need the momentum. So he comes to the conclusion that however Queen McAlister came to power, whether or not somebody actually saw a sign or whether it was rigged or whatever the case may be, he believes that she saw a sign, claimed to have seen a sign, and had their society move to this planet. And for whatever reason, he comes to the determination that she now needs them to leave again, but people have settled in and don't really want to. So she's manufacturing these signs. And has been for the last couple of years. That's the conclusion he comes to. And I think it's a generally correct conclusion. Still doesn't know necessarily the reasons why, but it's clear that somebody in a position of power is manufacturing these signs to get them to leave again. So I think he goes back to the palace, and I think he's going to talk with... oh boy, do I still have that name up? Yes, Samar Neville, their chief scientist. And we could make a pun here. Their chief scientist. That's a terrible pun. I apologize, but I couldn't help myself. All right, and I think he's going to try to convince their chief scientist that that what he has come up with is accurate. That these signs are being manufactured to create an outcome that's favorable to whoever's manufacturing them. And I don't think he's going to say it's the Queen as of yet, because that's a big step. That's a big step. And fortunately, I think if our Vulcan communications officer were down on the planet with them, she would be recommending that the captain not do this. This seems like the right thing. These people aren't getting a choice in how they live their lives. They're being told one thing, and that thing is a lie. So he's going to go ahead and attempt a present science. That's a 16. And yeah, let's see what we can do. A 6 and an 8, once again. Perfectly successful. He walks Samar Neville, through the results of their study of the sinkhole, shows the proof that it was manufactured, shows, kind of walks through the science as far as, here's how these readings on your seismographs could be created. The electromagnetic field of the planet could be modified by dumping highly magnetic material inside, yada, yada, yada. I'm not a geophysicist. I'm not going to try to go into more technobabble than that. And I don't think that they've fully convinced Neville. However, I think Samar Neville has begun to have doubts. And now he's going to request that they take this to the Queen, because he still believes in the Queen, whatever else. And I think that Captain Bronson would accommodate him in the hopes that if it is the queen, she'll let something slip, and Samar Neville and those around will be able to tell that what she has done. That's his hope, at least. Now, I don't actually know if it's the queen. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for it. And once again, I'm not going to tell you the result of this. You'll figure it out soon enough. Or not. Okay. So Bronson walks into the throne room. It's only been about 3 or 4 hours since he was last here. It's pushing late afternoon. And he will once again go through his presentation. This time, though, he's going to be attempting an insight security test. He wants to read her, see if she gives anything up. He's going to try and get her to say something, or kind of lead her down a path where she might accidentally say something that'll give her away. So this is an insight security. That's a 12. Let's see what we got. 15 and a 13. We're going to use our momentum and re-roll the 15. Although we could re-roll the 13, it doesn't matter. Roll on the table, please. An 8. Lovely. We converted a failure to a success. Just what momentum is used for. All right. So, as he's watching the queen, the entire time, she seems to have been unaware of the man-made nature of these signs. And I think Captain Bronson would catch her with that success, would catch her looking over to the advisor who we met earlier, who I didn't name, the one who hailed the Challenger in the first place. And Bronson would turn to this woman who would also be in her 30s or 40s, the kind of second hand of the queen, or whatever you want to call it. And let's see, is she going to run? She going to run? She's obviously been figured out. Let's give it a 50-50 shot. She's going to run. Now, Bronson will... Let's see. He's not got his phaser on him. He's going to try and... Alright, he's going to try and chase her down. Why not? The right pitch will come, but when it does, be prepared to run the bases. I mean, that sounds like a time to use that value. So I believe, because I'm using that value, and I might be incorrect here, because I've not used the values overly much in Captain's Log. Let me take a look here. I did end up tabbing my book, by the way. I saw a handful of people, no comments on the first video from last time, but a handful of people on the Star Trek Adventures Facebook group who were sharing their tabs, and those were quite useful. So to those of you who shared yours, I highly appreciate it. Let me take a quick pause here, and I'll be right back once I've double-checked my notes on values. Alright, it's a little simpler than I thought. When using a value or challenging a value, you can either gain a momentum or lose a threat. So in this case, we're going to gain a momentum, just in case, as he is tapping into kind of the gung-ho nature within him. He sees something, he's going to act, and he believes this is his opportunity. So this is going to be a fitness security, I think, makes the most sense as far as trying to catch her. So we're looking at a target number of 12, and we'll see what he can do. Oh boy, that's a 13 and an 18. I'm glad I used that value. We're going to go ahead and spend our momentum. Reroll the 18 and get a 3. He is once again successful. Momentum coming in clutch. Captain Bronson immediately starts to sprint, and you see he clearly comes from an athletic background, is no stranger to physical exertion, although he doesn't seem to be as much of an endurance athlete as he does quick sprints. So this seems to be where he excels. And he charges. The right hand of the queen is, a quarter to a third of the way across the throne room by the point he is able to kind of really get full speed. And it's pretty clear quickly on that he's going to catch up to her. And he calls for her to stop. She turns, looks over her shoulder, sees him close behind her, doesn't stop, so he goes all out and tackles her at the knees and brings her down. I think it'd be a very satisfying, hopefully climactic moment in the mission. And we'll get to, he kind of hands her over to the palace guards, who look a little unsure about what to do with this. He did just tackle the right hand of the queen, but the right hand of the queen was obviously running from accusations. So they take her into custody for the moment. And I think our last task, Captain Bronson is going to walk forward and attempt to get the truth out of the queen. So we'll call this, once again, I think a present security makes the most sense. So target number 15. I think I'm going to make it difficulty 2. I don't think that he knows, or I don't think it's likely that she's going to spill the beans. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll for it and see what we get. Oh no, that's a 0 successes, a 19 and a 17. So 1 failure to end off the mission. So he would say something like, Your Majesty, I think it would be in everyone's best interest if you would explain to me exactly what's going on. Why was your right hand attempting to create signs? What is so urgent? Why is it so urgent that she believed that you needed to leave this planet after only having been here for, 35 years? And the Queen would just dismiss the landing party. So kind of a little bit of a mystery left. I have some answers up here, but I'm going to take a quick pause once again and write the closing log, and we'll be right back. Captain's personal log, March 2nd, 2155. Unfortunately, the secrets that Queen McAlister holds will be remaining secrets. Whatever their reasons for leaving Earth, and whatever the reasons for the Queen's right hand to fake signs from their god now, well, I guess I'll have to get along without them. I have my theories, but stating them in such a public manner as my official log entries seems less than ideal. Still, the timing is certainly suspect. Queen McAlister led her people from Earth right at the time that humanity was undergoing the largest transformation in history. We'd settled our differences and were beginning to find a path forward as one people. Jon and Erika were right, though. Things certainly didn't go the way I expected them to. And with that, I want to thank you all once again for joining me on this mission. Hopefully I'll be able to get another mission set out next week. I don't anticipate any major issues with that. We should be, at the time I'm recording this, approaching the Labor Day holiday here in the United States. So I should have a nice long weekend to recover from whatever chaos happens in the next mission. Until next time, I want to thank you all once again, and live long and prosper.